Life is definitely impermanent. Sometimes we're experiencing something wonderful. We have a clear sense of bliss, perhaps, and we wish this moment would never change. But in fact, that's not the nature of life. It's not the nature of reality. Everything changes. Life, in fact, came together this way, through a compression of energy and then an expansion of energy, creating the universe and the planets and all of life. This movement, this ebb and flow, is the nature of reality. It's also important to understand that none of that is conscious. The compression of energy and the expansion of energy isn't a conscious movement or a conscious motion or a conscious act, but rather random acts. Random acts that obey certain laws that we have become aware of, laws of the universe, but random still. When we accept impermanence and accept randomness, it can help sort of alleviate feelings that the universe conspires against us, which it certainly cannot. And sometimes it can help make sense of life and some of the tragic moments of life, but also some of the happiest moments of life. And that these are random events. And while we have some influence over the direction and course of our life, the reality of life is that it is impermanent and random. When you're ready, move to the next slide. One of the comforting things for many people who accept some of these universal laws of physics is that the nature of matter is that it cannot be created nor destroyed. It just changes. When you see a beautiful flower and the petals fall off the flower, it isn't that there was a destroying of the matter of the flower. It just simply has changed. And when this flower gets put into the ground, composted, it isn't that the, again, flower is being destroyed. It's just changing back into atoms of carbon and hydrogen and oxygen, nitrogen. So in a sense, even though life is impermanent, we can take comfort in knowing that nothing gets destroyed. It just changes in its form. When you're ready, move to the next slide. It's important that we start to accept that change, whether we intended it or not, is inevitable. It's part of nature. But the choices, the conscious choices that we make, can have some influence over our lives. We all know people who apparently live a subconscious life, just allowing randomness to completely dictate their lives. The good news is that we can have some degree of influence over them. There are random external events, yes, but we still have some ability to make some or have some influence over direction. When you're ready, move to the next slide. There's a gift in impermanence, and that gift is that we start to appreciate that no matter how bad things might feel, or how challenging, or how much at that moment you just feel like you can't take it, you have to know that it's going to change. It's the nature of reality. Conversely, no matter how amazing you feel at one moment, we also accept that this also must change. All of life must be thought of as a wave moving up and down. And the beautiful part about the movement of the wave is that without the downs, you can't appreciate the ups. And when you're up, you appreciate it that much more because you know this is temporary. One of the goals in life then is to become an effective wave rider. We can learn to live with the knowledge that we are still here, still riding the waves, and still have a chance to make things better for ourselves and others. When you're ready, move to the next slide. The gift of randomness is that we can start to accept things as random, things that happen as random events. We can stop taking things so personally. If you have the misfortune of slipping on ice and spraining your ankle, or getting into a car accident, or any number of things that are related to a multitude of random events, you start to realize that it's not personal. Things happen, even with our greatest efforts put into making them or hoping that they don't happen. We have to accept that there is a certain amount of randomness that will affect even the most diligent, conscious living person. We can't control external events. I can't control what someone else does. And I can't control, of course, the energy of the universe. The only thing I can do is put conscious effort into my own wave riding. When you're ready, move to the final slide for our meditation on impermanence. We're now going to begin a meditation on celebrating the impermanence of life. To begin, find yourself in an upright and dignified posture. Place your hands so they're in a symmetrical position, feet flat on the floor. Close your eyes to start to diminish some of the visual input that you'll be getting. As we always do, begin to focus on your sensation of breath. Notice where you're breathing. As we've done in previous meditations, I'll be taking you through 4 levels of a meditation. To really experience the depth of this meditation, we'll officially begin it when we reach the 4th level. We'll sound the bell, as we always do, to start the meditation, and there will be a double bell to bring you out of the meditation. When you're ready. Begin to notice sounds around you, sounds of my voice, perhaps sounds outside your office or wherever it is that you're sitting today. Notice the pressure on the surface on which you're sitting. Notice if you have any areas of discomfort. Don't judge this. Just be aware of it. Move consciously now down to the 2nd level, the 2nd jhana, into a deeper state. In this state, start to tune out those things that you've just been focusing on. Just allow them to fade a bit into the background as you just come to a deeper state. Notice that you can still experience the sensation of breath, but the other sensations begin to fade away. You'll also experience bliss, which is joy and happiness. Consciously move into the 3rd state of meditation, a deeper state. We start to even notice that even your sensation of breath becomes less obvious. You notice that you've released joy, but you still have happiness. There's a feeling of starting to float, a feeling of starting to detach. Slip into the fourth state, the deepest state of your meditation. In this state, you now have released happiness. And you have neither happiness nor sadness, no feelings of joy, no feelings of depression, just feeling very neutral, very balanced. At this stage, I want you to start to think about impermanence. Start to understand that all of life moves up and down like a wave. You've learned that energy travels as a waveform. On a macro level, all of life fluctuates like a wave. You'll have times when you're riding high on the wave, and then times when the wave naturally will come down. You'll come down off that wave into a trough. It's tempting to say these are good or bad. High is good, low is bad, but really this is just nature. Once you learn to accept the nature of reality, that it goes up and down, you can start to celebrate all moments. It may seem strange to celebrate when you're not feeling well, but part of the celebration is knowing that this is the bottom, and things must come up. Also celebrating when things feel good, knowing that they are temporary or ephemeral. You start to see yourself more as a wave rider in life. Nothing lasts forever. You've probably experienced loss in your life, and you very much know that this is a fact. We're here for a period of time, and then we're not. We can use this knowledge to celebrate, to fully try to experience all that life has to offer. Live life, as they say, to the fullest. That doesn't mean that life will always be happy, and it certainly doesn't mean that life will always be sad. In this fourth stage, in fact, that's really what it's all about, this deep state of meditation, is appreciating the balance. A feeling of floating, a feeling of knowing that this is not permanent. I'm going to now walk you out of this fourth level, back up to the first level. When we get to the first level and we start to come out of this, I want you to keep in mind where you've been and hopefully have an understanding that all of life will move up and down and nothing is permanent. Begin to move to the third stage, a little bit out of this stage of meditation. In this third stage, notice that you start to feel just a sense of happiness. Move up a little higher into the second stage and start to notice that your feelings of breath become a little bit more obvious. The movement of your belly or your ribs. Also notice that in addition to happiness, you experience joy, which is bliss. Joy with happiness is bliss. And finally move yourself into the first stage. This stage is where you experience all your sensations. Begin to allow your eyes to flutter to an opening position and bring awareness back to this time and this space. I hope you've enjoyed today's meditation on impermanence of life, and you can begin to celebrate all moments of life. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.